On January 26th, while India celebrated Republic Day, a group of protesters gathered outside Indian Consulate in Vancouver, Canada. The protesters were openly criticizing the Indian government and demanding the creation of Khalistan, a separate country for Sikhs. The protest took place on Howe Street and the Vancouver police had to close the entire road due to the size of the gathering. The protesters displayed the posters and banners targeting Indian politicians, specifically India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and accused the Indian government of suppressing the Sikh. Many of them carried yellow and blue Khalistan flags, symbolizing their demand for an independent Sikh state. The scene was intense, with slogans being chanted, speeches being made, and emotions running really high. The main reason behind this protest was the assassination of Hardeep Singh Nijjar, a known Khalistan Sikh supporter. Many in the crowd claimed that India was behind his killing, and this particular protest was meant to highlight their anger. Ajaypal Singh, one of the protesters, openly stated, "All of us here believe that Punjab should be a separate state from India. That's why we are here protesting against India's constitution." We are also here to talk about Hardeep Singh Nijjar. He was the one who started all these protests against the Indian Consulate. His words highlight the growing tensions between Khalistan supporters in Canada and the Indian government. Hardeep Singh Nijjar was a Sikh leader in Canada and the head of Guru Nanak Singh Gurdwara in Surrey. He was also a supporter of Khalistan movement and he had been actively calling for a Sikh state. In the meantime, the Indian government had labelled him a terrorist, accusing him of planning attacks in Punjab and being involved in violent activities. However, in June 2023, Nijjar was gunned down outside the Gurudwara in Canada. His murder sparked a major international controversy. 4 Indian nationals were later arrested in Canada for his killing. These individuals were Amandeep Singh, Karan Barar, Kamalpreet Singh and Karanpreet Singh. They have been charged with first-degree murder and conspiracy to commit the murder. Their arrest also deepened the divide between India and Khalistan supporters abroad. The situation took a drastic turn in September 2023 when Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau openly made an explosive claim. He stated that Canadian national security agencies were investigating credible allegations that agents of Indian government were involved in Nijjar's assassination. Now, this particular statement created an immediate diplomatic crisis between both India and Canada. In the meantime, the Indian government strongly denied all these allegations, calling them baseless and politically motivated. And by the way, there were no proofs of this also, what Trudeau said. Then in response, Canada expelled an Indian diplomat and India retaliated by expelling Canadian diplomats as well. The tension between the two countries escalated further when India temporarily suspended visa services for those whom they thought that were Khalistan, citing security reasons. Since then, diplomatic relationship between New Delhi and Ottawa have remained strained with no sign of improvement at all. Now, to understand why the Khalistan movement continues to create a tension between India and Canada, it is very important to look at the history. The movement, which calls for independent Sikh homeland, was at its peak in 1980s. That was a time when violent attack and separatist movement shook Punjab. The situation became so severe that Indian government had to launch Operation Blue Star in 1984 just to remove Khalistani militants from the Golden Temple in Amritsar, the holiest Sikh shrine. The military operation led to heavy casualties and sparked outrage among Sikh worldwide. Later that same year, India's Prime Minister Indira Gandhi was assassinated by her Sikh bodyguard as revenge for the operation. Now, this assassination triggered the 1984 anti-Sikh riots in which thousands of Sikhs were killed. Since then, the Khalistan movement has faded in India, but it remains active due to some Khalistani terrorists in the countries like Canada, the United Kingdom, and the United States. Let me give you an additional information. With these attacks in Canada, there were different attacks by the same Khalistan groups in London as well on that same day. On 26 January 2025, Khalistan supporters also protested outside Indian Consulate in London as well. This raises a big question. Was this all pre-planned or not? Coming back to the protests in Canada, then the recent protests outside the Indian Consulate in Vancouver is a stark reminder that Khalistan-related tensions are far from over. India has repeatedly urged Canada to take stronger action against Khalistani elements who promote separatism and violence from a foreign soil. However, Canada argues that freedom of expression and freedom of speech, with the freedom of right also, are fundamental democratic values that cannot be restricted. The question now is whether these tensions will continue to escalate or whether the two countries will find a way to improve their diplomatic relationship. Well, Khalistan issue remains a highly sensitive topic both in India and abroad. As protests like these continue to take place in Western countries, India is keeping a close watch. But the bigger question remains, should India take stronger action against Khalistani activities abroad? Or should Canada and the United Kingdom too do more to prevent extremist groups from operating on its soil? What do you think? Let us know in the comment section.